Um, Hello, everybody. My name is Nicolas Schak. I work for the company C Concrete. It's a precasting company out of Belgium. In Belgium, we have two factories. And C Concrete is the precast company of the company Cordeel. And Cordeel is a group, you will see. Cordeel is a group that started in Belgium. I will present you today a few slides about claustra elements we needed to make for one of our good clients. It's the Brussels Airport Company. It's a client where we did, let's say, already 6 or 7 projects with. So it's a client that knows what we can do, how we work. So they, at one certain moment, they gave us really a challenge because they wanted to have, in front of their head office, they wanted to have something special. This is the area where I work. We have here. This is our precast. This is our biggest precast factory in Temse. It's a city, let's say, 15 minutes driving with the car from Antwerp. But you can see, it's still a 100% family-owned company. And this is a turnover about approximately 800 million, 1,600 employees. The 1,600 employees, it's only in Belgium. If you would say the total amount of the Cordeel group, then you will be around 3,000 persons. Offices in 4 different countries and then credentials in 8 different countries. This is just a map of C Concrete, the company I work for. My job is there. I'm the quality and a concrete supervisor. So I start from A till Z. So it's sometimes an advantage, sometimes not, but I like to see it as an advantage. We make many different, we make around 40,000 cubic meters of concrete every year. We also have our own steel reinforcement factory inside the both factories. We are certified for the Benelux, so Benor, CE, and Como. And then this is the range of the products we make. We make what the client wants most of the time. Sometimes we say that's not possible, but then we are already thinking about the solution, because saying to a client it's not possible, that's something my boss, he wouldn't accept. So. But we make reinforcement, beams, columns, pre-stressed floors. We make walls, we make balconies, we make facade elements. One of our ways to finish our concrete is by washing them. And then, of course, we make specials. The specials, it's something we always try to do, but let's say that the top is what we're used to do. If we have the time and if we have the capacity, then we will take a special. This was one of the specials we produced, and if I'm not mistaken, 2020. So one of our customers, BRC, came up with the idea to create a new head office next to their warehouse. But the architect, he visited the MUCAM in Marseille, so he wanted to also have the sidings like a fence, but he wanted to have it in concrete. So we needed to make 34 claustra elements with you could see cutouts of around 280 millimeters, and also 4 full walls. The 4 full walls, they're somewhere located here, and it's where the people need to check in, and that's why you wanted there to have full walls for all the electronics that needed to be mounted on the walls. So here you can see the different types we needed to make. The only fixation of the elements was on the top, with a steel plate, they welded, and then also on the bottom, they just fixated them. So question one, how do you start? Because we are a company and we use a lot of wood as molds, but for an element like that, that's not so easy. So the first option we were thinking about was the XPS and the insulation. But yeah, then you get problems because the finishing of the insulation isn't as smooth as the architect wanted it to be. And also one of our pillars is zero waste. The XPS you can only use one time, and then you have a big amount of waste. You need to, for all the 38 of the elements, you needed to make every time a new mold, and yeah, that was a little bit crazy. Then option two was a steel formwork, but then you would have a lot of cost creating that steel formwork. You could use it many times, but the cost was too high because we did a calculation, and so we came back to what we originally always tried to do, and we came back to a wooden formwork. We have the luck that within our Cordeel group, we also have, wood making factory, C Wood. So they assisted us in creating the type of mold we needed to have. And that was the result. So it's, let's say this is just a normal plate, but we reinforce the plate, of course. And then this is also made in wood. Then the second challenge was that the architect wanted to have black concrete. I always do like this when architects want black concrete, because in my honest opinion, really black concrete doesn't exist. You have, I don't know how to pronounce it in English. I think it's, I will say it in Belgium, and in Flemish it's anthracite. You have 100% black concrete, in my honest opinion, it's not possible to make, because you got the environment that will always take a little bit of your color away. So the 100% black concrete, some people say that they can make it, but that's their problem. Yeah, then the pigmentation. Pigmentation, if you want to add pigmentation, you need to put extra water, because the pigments will take away the water you will use in your concrete. Then, high aesthetical elements, correct dosing of the color. It's very important, because otherwise some architects like it, but there are a few who like it. And then, of course, because we're working with such, like you could see in the previous slides from Tom, with such a low water-cement ratio, we asked to Tom, and he said, it's best to, instead of adding water, add superplast. So that's what we did. And we lost a little bit of straight, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really inflicting the demolding and the mounting process of the elements. Then, of course, one of the big challenges also was that the view of the elements, when you add black color, there are some precasters here, so they probably know what will happen if you create black elements and you don't take good care of them. Be vigilant for lime efflorescence, the white chalk that will, if it's getting wet, you will see on the surface. So how do you prevent it? We try to do it with the optimal storage of our elements as long as possible. So we cleared out a space at the end of our factory, and with the supervisor from that area, we made an agreement, those elements, that place, till they go to the construction site. Then, of course, type of reinforcements. For me, this is the first project we ever worked with for UHPC concrete. So, I already worked with concrete, so I would know it would be with fibers or with normal reinforcement. It all depends on the calculations of the engineer. But we had a problem because we had so thin sections of 7 centimeters. What will we do with the reinforcement? Because you can place the reinforcement, but you need to fixate it also, because it's very important that the reinforcement stays on the correct position. Of course, we first tried to do a small test because it was very, very important for us because we never worked with that type of concrete. So Tom provided us with some samples and we did it in our Labo mixer. But there in the Labo mixer, we could already, after pouring the concrete, we could already see that the high viscosity of the concrete, if you didn't fix your you can see it's very high viscosity the concrete has, and that for us was a problem because we wanted to make sure that the reinforcements we placed inside wouldn't move. That's something wrong, but so for the reinforcement, I didn't know what to do. Tom also was a little bit in the dark about the project and then the requirements for that for the reinforcement. So I called to a lot of people I know. Belgium isn't a big country, so most of the concrete technologists who work in Belgium I know. So also I have my contacts within the precast companies in Belgium. And then we came up with a hybrid reinforcement, but you will see later we skipped also that part. And then it was, PPA fibers or steel fibers, but we have a good connection or a good work relation with master builders, so we chose for the PPA fibers. Also because it's just an aesthetical element, there is not such there are not such big forces coming on top of that element. That's why we chose for the PPA fibers. If it was a really structural element, steel fibers would be more appropriate. Then, of course, another challenge, and concrete is always about challenges, also, especially in precast, is, how are we going to lift that element? So we were thinking about first lifting it like that, but that would result in some serious problems. That's why we changed it a little bit, because also these sides weren't visible. That's why we changed it, and we were thinking about a different way of debolding. Okay, then we can use 100% of the fibers, because we were still having the problem of fixating the reinforcement. That's why instead of tilting the element like this, we chose to tilt it to the other side, so there wouldn't be so much forces coming on the concrete, and especially because we wanted to mold them every day because of the amount of elements we needed to produce. This is the quantity of the fibers we used. In my opinion, it's not much. It's pretty low, but we were happy because it was the first time we worked with fibers, and then already working with fibers or with additional fibers of more than, let's say, 20, 30, 40, 50 kilogram, it would be really strange for us. And then we came to production. Tom and Yves, they know that the first mock-up we made, we had at that moment 60 bags, but our level of our planetary mixers is on the second floor. So Tom, Yves, me, and one of the guys from the concreting team went up to the second floor with the 60 bags, but my guys already told me, if you need to do that every day, you can do it yourself. So that's why we came with a solution. They also, they also deliver the XL and the Extreme, they also deliver it in big bags. And we have the luck that on the second floor where our mixers are located, we have a small crane, so we could pick up the big bags from our ground level and put them to our mixers. And that was the result of the first cast. But then, then you get the time frame that was shortened by the project. It's also something well known by precast companies. Then, Yeah, we had a problem. Okay, we made one element every day. It was 0.6 cubic meters. Then we were like, okay, let's try to do 2 elements a day. Because we also, we always make sure that we work with the extreme in the morning when the production is at a low capacity. But after 12 o'clock, it needs to go up. And that's why we were thinking, let's try to do 2 elements. And that was no problem. So we did in total 1.2 cubic meters of the Aalborg Extreme with the addition of the fibers. And our power produced by our mixer at that moment was 40%, so that was also no problem. But then we came to the issue of the 2 full corner panels. What will we do with them? Because the engineer calculated, you can do it with standard concrete. Within our company, standard concrete is C50-60 because it's our full panels. So the engineer said, you don't need to do that. But then we had the problem if we would make it with our own mix design. There would be a slight difference in color. And it was a very important customer, like I already told you. So we had the crazy idea to go even higher. This was, I'm not going to say a well-calculated moment we did, but we checked with our manufacturer of our planetary mixer, and he told us that it would be around 80% of the capacity. But I think his calculations weren't correct because it was at a certain moment 95%. But we already made like a small procedure if there would be something of a problem that we can unload the mixer in like 2 minutes. Also, the crane cubicle was almost filled to the max. That's why for us we were like, okay, this is the maximum. And then, the other challenge is finishing, then the transport, then the placing. So the finishing, you got, because we poured them horizontally, you got the steel fibers sticking out, but that side was also visible. So Master Builders, our company who delivered the fibers, gave us the solution. Just with a small torch, burn them a little bit, but don't do it after demolding, because if you do it directly after demolding, you will seriously damage your concrete. So we waited a little bit longer. We waited like 7 days, and then just with a small torch, we burned all the fibers you could see, and the architect was really satisfied with that result. Transport, it was also important to do it on a different way than normally. And then the placing, of course, we also made sure that the construction site of one of our sister companies, Cordeel Hoeselt, that the moment they started to placing, that in the beginning we were there to assist them. And this is the result. So that was my presentation. Are there any questions?